Okay, first off, going into this one is we are hopefully going to be trying to get the S13's engine, the 2JZ, into the car. But so obviously it's tucked under all of that at the moment in my back garden because I don't have anywhere else to store it. And there's a few issues with getting the engine in, such as the space I've got to get it down. I've got to be able to get it between this post here and the wall to the house, as well as this gate. So I've got to take some measurements because obviously there is a lot in the way. And the main problem is, I didn't think about it just because I wanted to get on with it and get things done, is the 2J currently has the transmission on. So if I could just get it onto the engine stand and roll it down, because that fits absolutely fine. But that's not going to work because the transmission's on. So first of all, it is a mess in here as always. So I'll just get this rolled out. Okay, so tool cart's out the way. There's the engine. So here it is. Obviously, for those that know, 2J GE by the valve covers, if you can tell. It has been sitting here and it's not even currently actually on it. What I didn't know until I just came in here, because it's slowly letting itself down, and it is just resting on this tyre, literally just behind the sump, and it's sitting on the transmission. So basically, to get this to work today, first of all, I'll show you these coil packs set up that I've kind of modified, and I'll show you how they're sitting. But then I've also, hopefully, what we're going to do is figure out how we're going to get this down there. So first thing we're going to do is I'm just going to put a bit more tension back on this just so I know it's not going to go anywhere. And then we are going to take the exhaust and intake side off, as well as the injection packs, sort of, what do I call it, fuel runner, all the fuel system, all that shit, that's going to come back off. I've also decided that we are no longer going to run power steering, mainly because I can't be asked to put the money to get this to set up correctly, and it's a bit of a mess around for me when I don't really care, and it's going into quite a light car. So I'm going to get rid of the power steering. So we're going to do that when it's probably in the car, just because it just sort of saves time. But to start off with, I'm going to do a quick bit of just taking these off, getting them out the way, probably put them inside just so they're clean and looked after. I'll also disconnect the coil packs back again just so that's not on, and then I'll show you one of the ideas we're going to be doing to get this down the side gate. We might change it, but this is the current idea. Okay, we've got all the bits stripped off. The engine is currently just balancing on the tyre, but now that's all off, we can kind of see what we're trying to get on with. So I have two thoughts. Either I somehow shim this on the tyre out through the gate, what I would love to do, but it might not be feasible because it's a bit precariously balanced on top of it, like, but that's perspective one. The other choice is, before we go to that, what I'm going to quickly do is just lower this down, and I'm going to hook, if I can, that into the engine lift point, because then I know it's not going to fall over while my back's turned. Oh god. Okay, so that pin's back in there. Push that in. It's still not quite reaching. Let's go to the next one. I don't know what... It says position 4. It can hold, I think that's trying to say 200 kilo. I'm pretty sure this is about 200, maybe a bit over. So, it should be able just to go to max and be okay. Ooh, there we go. Okay, I'm just going to put it on that one, mainly because I don't trust anything. This says 500 kilos, so we should be absolutely fine. Now, if I just lower this down a little bit more. Okay. Lowered it. Oh, we are so close to reaching that. A little bit more. Okie dokie. This is where this doesn't want to hook in there. It would be typical bullshit. Oh, it's too small of a hook. It's kind of got it. I just want to put a tiny bit of pressure like that, just so I know if it does try and fall over, that's going to catch it. Okay, so now that's a little bit less precarious. So our first option is this metal here. I've ordered this just in case I need to. So that metal and these casters, I don't know what one's open. That one's not open, this one. And these casters here, I should be able to make just a rough, basically engine stand and transmission stand for the 2J specifically, to be able to roll it out and through. It's just a bit annoying because the wheel sizes on those wheels, obviously every time I hit a little bump like this or these rock bits or this big hole here, they're going to get stuck. So that's option one. And option two is I'm going to put that strap back around it and lift the engine back up, and I'm going to see if I can walk this out here to begin with, just to get it out of the way. And then because this engine lift doesn't reach down the alleyway, what I might do is, depending how precarious it is, I might just see if I can drag it on the tyre. So I'll leave the strap around it and just sort of pull on it and see if I can get it to move. But if I can, I might just leave it on the tyre and try and drag it, because it's going to save me a few hours. The only other thing we need to do here as well, before I forget to, is this hole we need to drill out with a 13mm drill and put a new insert in, because the adapter plate, what it came with, the insert, didn't want to thread into the hole and then broke. So I've ordered some new inserts, which should be better. And I've ordered a tap as well for the right sizing thread for the time insert, and another drill. So I'm going to drill it in there, just tap the beginning bit just so it starts, and then put the insert through, and hopefully that will work, and I can put the starter on it as well. But yeah, first things first, see if I can get that lump out here to work on it a bit better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set you up, open this up, move these out the way, and we'll start trying to drag this out. Okay, I kind of skipped ahead. We've got some tools out. The engine I did get out. I decided to give this a try. Not really the best use of my tools, but I've got my sleeper by the front wheel holding the front sump, and then this is just sort of resting on my jack, and I managed to drag it through. So it can hold 300 odd kilo, well 200 and I think 240, but it probably is not enjoying it very much, to be honest with you. Probably by the fact that if you look, I don't know if you can see it, that is very much buckled down. So what we're going to do, this bit of metal here is to replace the lower radiator support that got rusted and bent in half. So it's going to go like that. So what I've just done, no, I've got my phone out. I've cleaned this down, and I'm going to cut and weld in these, a bit of metal to come down the right distance, probably to about there. And then I'm going to weld this bar between, but I'm going to have it staggered back from this and just weld a tab in for this to mount to. The same with this. This is going to mount about halfway inside of this bar distance. You have to put the key in.
Oh.
Battery's disconnected.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
It's the other one I need to fix.
Right.
Yeah.
There we go. A cup of tea on the bonnet.
Okay. So that's fine to just sit like that. That'll be all right. So what we're going to do is I'm going to get this in here, measure what height I need to weld these bars to come down to, because I'm going to have it the ends of this, because this is 50 mil and that's 40 mil by 3 I believe, and that's 40 by 20 by 3 or 4 mil, I can't remember. So I'm going to have this come down and butt up flat against the bottom of this on the underside, so that where it comes down to, the mounting point for this can just come forward as a tab I'm going to weld on to the bottom of it. So I'm going to stagger this. It's really hard to sort of explain, but this bar here, that would be zeroed out. Oh, did someone just crash? It was either that or my neighbour going onto his driveway very aggressively. All right. But that'll be zeroed out, but I'm going to bring it up 3 mil and weld it there, so that I can weld this on the bottom of it coming forward, so it's a bit more rigid and it's not just relying on the weld on the face of it. And then once I've got these 2 brackets welded up, I am going to mount the arm what comes here, the brace, just so I can see where it needs to be on that side as well. Once the tabs for that are welded in and the tab for that is welded in, we're going to pick that up and get that put in, and I'll show you the engine mounts we've gone with, and we'll show some of the other bits, and we'll do some bits regarding the power steering pump and the oiling system for the turbo as well. Thumbs up. There's mould.
They're literally, look at that back seatbelt. That is fucking skanking.
Oh, lovely.
You've got mould there. It smells like fucking rat shit in it.
It was in a barn for like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, but still.
It don't smell awful though.
Should have bleached the thing out. You don't know who's fucking been in it.
Oh, I know who it was.
Oh, there's a mouldy CD player too. It's all mouldy.
The CD player is not mouldy.
Yes, it is. Look, it's like.
Yeah, that's where they always do that. They got
No,
like a grey
normally they're
tarnished.
black. That's green.
Yeah, green, black, same colour.
It's like convulged all together.
Nah, I'll be alright. Okay, so I'm gonna come off, measure these up. I'll just tack weld these side brackets in, and then I'll tack weld this bottom bracket in, and then I'll come back with you, and then we'll weld it up together. Alright, so it's taken me a minute just because I was trying to sort a few bits out, but I've put this ratchet strap just to pull this front end in a little bit because there was a few mil off, because it's supposed to be from when, before I took it out, it was 700 mil, and it's right now with this strap about 701, but I kind of don't want to force it any more than I am because it's kind of not enjoying it, and I don't want spring back on this. So I pulled it in about 4 or 5 mil. This is just tacked on. This bar I've now cut to where I want it to be, so that now if I was to get a rule, for instance, chuck it on here, the other thing you'll notice is these arms aren't at the same length. I don't know why. I genuinely could not give you a reason. Like, they are mounted at the exact same place in the exact same holes, just one is longer than the other. Like, so if we look there, that's how much space there is between the subframe and the back of it. Call it what, 20 mil? Maybe 23 mil from the subframe. And then if we go over on this side, obviously there's a wheel there, but if we go on this bit and measure from there to there, it's about nearly 30 mil from the looks of it. But there is like no reason at all for that, so I don't know why it's doing that, but God knows. But what I'm gonna do at the moment, I'm gonna tack this bottom bar so it's in place, because this rule should have enough distance to sit on there and go underneath. Nearly. It was fine by me because I'll end up pulling these down a little bit, so that's fine. Those are in the right place, that bar's in the right place, I'm happy. So I'm gonna tack weld this. I'm then gonna try and cut another bit of metal to I kind of want to brace this section because I don't want this bar doing this, so I kind of want to put a brace bit in here on the front panel here. So I might have a look and see if I can cut like a little triangle out to fill this space in, but we'll have a look. But so for now, I'll get this tacked in place. I'll clean this paint off and all these welds, just so it's a smooth surface, and then I'll see if I can do that and we'll go from there. So what we're going to do, set you up on the tripod over here out the way. You might be able to see, you might not. You're probably just going to see a bunch of sparks. So alright, so we have got that tacked on, so now that's actually in there, and we'll see what we can do about this corner, because this plate is thick. Well, it's not super thick, but it's about 1.5 mm thicker than this chassis rail. I still think that might bend itself with the amount of force when driving and just generally speaking. So I could use more of that flat bar down there, but I'll see what else I've got laying around for it. So I'll cut something out and I'll be back. Okay, I ended up undoing this and having a look at the deflection on this bar. It's moving about 0.2 of a millimeter, like in distance. It's not really moving that much. So I'm not gonna worry about these braces. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna clean this off on both sides, clean the top down, and obviously these sections of black bar in the middle. And I'm gonna go ahead and just weld this plate all the way in on the top, on both sides, weld this bar in completely on both sides, and then I'll get rid of this strap, and then I won't be able to weld the bottom of that side, so I'm gonna get rid of the strap, then weld those bits. So we're gonna do that, get that welded, and then after that's done, we can get the engine in after we weld a few brackets in here and here, and for this one as well. Okay, so that's fully welded in. Obviously not perfect welds, but good enough by my standard. That will hold beautifully. So now that's in, we can quickly weld up, or cut some tabs. They're going to be able to meet up to this. And yeah, to be fair, I think I'm going to leave those because I want to figure out what's going on and why this is longer than that one, and because it's a bit odd to me. But the one thing I will weld up is this. Ooh, that's a bit loud. So I want this to sit about there in the middle, but obviously I need to make sure that that's the right latch position. Oh, that's so far. That's a horrible noise, that. Horrible. Okay, so what we're gonna do, set you up on the welder, and I'm gonna just bring this forward, set this up as like a stop, just to stop it from moving. Probably a bit too small. Yeah, like that. So that's in the middle, won't move. And then this. Do you find it odd how that fender is so bowed compared to this side? God knows. Is what it is. Okay. That's sitting in there nice and snug. And then I think it's... that's hot. Trying to remember where the... Okay, I'll just do it in the car. So if I pull the latch on the car bonnet, okay, and this should release. I'm happy with that. So, what I need to do is cut a bit of this, because it should be the same thickness as well. How far do I need to come up? Come up. .25 is the top of the hole, so if I do up to 30 mil, it's behind that. So we want a 30 mil strip. Alright, so I'll cut that, get that welded in, and then I'll come back. Okay, and that is welded in. So now the only two things we need, well, four things we need to be welded in are these two. Well, bracket needs to be made and I need to repair them because the threads are stripped out. And then before I weld these obviously in, I'm gonna figure out what's going on over in this section of things. So now it's pretty much time to get that into there. So what I need first is to figure out where I've put my 13mm drill, because as usual I've put it down and I can't find it. So just gotta try and remember. I remember seeing it, but I can't find it. It might be upstairs. Okay, I'll find that in a minute. This we're gonna bring around front, obviously, to get it in there. But obviously, before we chuck it in, because of how awkward it is to get to be fair, I could do it in the car because it's that hole there, and there should be enough room. I'll do it while it's in the car. So let's get this all in there first. So if we go ahead and grab. So see, the sway bars are there waiting to go in. These are the rear hubs waiting to go in. New bearings for them. Racing harnesses waiting to go in. And then these are the new engine mounts. And my spacers that I'm waiting to use. Okay. But these right here is going to be what's going to be holding in the engine. This right here. So I need to double check on the manual what side they go on, but so it'll be helpful if they put an R and an L on it, but they have not. But yeah, so what this was gonna go, to my assumption, it's gonna want to go further back. I'll put it further forward. So yeah, it goes on this side, I believe. So this will go on like that, has the bolts and stuff supplied for it. Then these two bits go down into the slot, down, oh, if I can get it to click, down in there, with a washer on the back of it, and then that will hold it. And there's also new coil pack boots in here as well for the 2J. So we've got a fair few things just sitting in there waiting. These weren't too expensive, I don't believe. I believe they're about 150, 160. And from what I could find, they're supposed to be pretty good. So they're the new boots from Australia. They also come with a resistor pack in there, I believe. I don't know where they are, but yeah, there. So they come with resistors. Was helpful because the other ones I had did not come with resistors, and I don't really trust that. So there's the mounting bolts, and there's their custom washer they've made up right there. So let's get all of those out. There's the other one. And then, is there a manual? Yes, there is. Just see what way they want it round. Okay, so intake side, they want it to go forward. So, did I have it the right way round? Because that's the exhaust side there. So the exhaust side wants that bit facing back. Yeah, so it goes like this on that side. So we're gonna just get these on there nice and tight, and we're just gonna put these bolts on to hold it in place somewhat. And then what I'll do is I'll grab the engine lift, get it round, get that picked up, and then I'll probably get my missus out here and we'll start fiddling it into there.